everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I hope you guys are well. So let us discuss today about a very important Indian novelist. Her name is Anita Desai. So this picture in front of you is of Anita Desai. She has written some of the most important novels and she has contributed a lot in the genre of novels. So Anita Desai is one of the most prominent gifted novelists when it comes to Indian English literature. She was born in Missouri on 24th June in 1937. Her father was Bengali while her mother was German. Right. So she grew up with English, Bengali, Hindi, German, both. All of these language was something that she already knew. English was her first language, but she grew up with using languages like English, Hindi, Bengali and German. So she began her writing at the age of 7 and it was in English that in which he started to write. She has written novels, stories, children books as well as a number of articles. She is often considered as a psychological novelist. उनका बहुत एक prominent theme है that she tends to use and that is the psychological novels. She is famous for creating female protagonists that are writing or they are talking about their own psyche. Right? So psychological thrillers जैसा वो एक impact देती हैं अपनी novels के साथ. So the psychological novel, there is always a feminist who is going to deal with the major theme of isolation, lack of communication. There is always an inner struggle that is shown by a female protagonist. There is this male-female relationship that she will talk about in her book. There is marital discord, family structures and the problems between a married life. In सब चीजों के बारे में she is going to write the works. Her protagonists are mostly female. So she is regarded as the writer who introduced the psychological novels in the English genre, you can say in the Indian way of writing. So Indian novels के field के अंदर she is the one who is the Indian Virginia Woolf, right? So she is following the tradition that Virginia Woolf started in India, that is writing about the psychological problems that a female is facing. So her novels are very much compared to what Mrs. Dalloway is like. Mrs. Dalloway is a very important novel by Virginia Woolf. She introduced the psychological realism in her very important book that came out in 1963 called as Cry the Peacock. Cry the Peacock उनका काफी important work है. She is without doubt the most read contemporary writers when it comes to Indian English writings. So her short stories, Circus Cat, How Gentle is the Mist, Tea with Maharani, Ghost House, Mr. Bose, Private Bliss, Private Tuition by Mr. Bose are some of the important short stories written by Anita Desai. She has written essays, articles, reviews also in number of magazines and in a number of newspapers. Collection of short stories called as Grammar of Twilight is also written by her, which contains number of stories like Pineapple Cake, Sail, The Accompanist, we have A Devoted Son, The Farewell Party, Pigeons and At Daybreak. Right? So these are the number of short stories that are there in the collection Games at Twilight. She is also very famous for writing children books. So children literature के लिए भी she is famous. She has written books for children like Peacock Garden that came out in 1974, Cat on a Houseboat in 1976, and we have Village by the Sea in 1982. So she is someone who is writing articles, magazines. She is someone who is writing short stories as well. This one is very famous, The Games of Twilight. It has a number of short stories like A Devoted Son, The Farewell Party, The Pineapple Cake and many more. She is also writing books for children like The Peacock Garden, The Cat on a Houseboat and The Village by the Sea. Her stories are basically followed by the first novel that she wrote, and that was a psychological realistic novel also. It is called as Cry the Peacock that came out in 1963. Desai has contributed to the Indian English literature by her valuable different novels as Voice in the City that came out in 1965, Bye Bye Blackbird 1971, Where Shall We Go This Summer 1975, Fire on the Mountain 1977, Clear Light of the Day 1980, In Custody, a very, very interesting work to read. In Custody, which talks about the problems of the society that are now inclined to study English and they are forgetting their own roots. That is, they are forgetting to study Sanskrit. So this is In Custody. We have Bomb Gardens, Bombay in 1989 and Journey to Ithaca, another very important work in 1995. Now let us discuss some of the other things about her. So she has been awarded numerous prizes. She is a prolific writer with a number of prizes being awarded to her and a number of honors including Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan by the Government of India. And we have the Taknath Das Award for the promotion of Indo-US relations. She also won Sahitya Academy Award. And किस book के लिए मिली है? She was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award for her book Fire on the Mountain that came out in 1977 for the year 1978. तो 1978 में उनको उनकी book Fire on the Mountain के लिए Sahitya Academy Award भी मिलता है. Her 3 novels, Clear Light of the Day, In Custody and Fasting Feasting were also nominated for one of the most prestigious prize for literature, that is the Booker Prize. वो Booker Prize award के लिए nominate भी की गई थी. What are the 3 works, 3 novels that were nominated? This can be asked in the paper. It is Clear Light of the Day, then In Custody and Fasting Feasting. Her novel In Custody was adapted into a film as well, which has important characters, and it was very much, it was a very successful book at that time. A very important English film by the same name was produced, In Custody. It was directed by Ismat Merchant and it won the 1944 President of the Year Gold Medal for the Best Picture. कौन से important characters ने play किया था, important personalities? We have Shashi Kapoor in the movie. बहुत अच्छी movie है, you must see it. We have Shabana Azmi and Om Puri who have played different important characters in the picture. So just go and watch it as well. What are the other works by the author that you have to remember? You must remember The Zigzag Way, When on Route 80 in Ohio. We have Bicultural Adrift and Wandering. We have Mariana. Then we have Diamond Dust, Fasting Feasting, Journey to Ithaca. We have Baumgartner's Bombay, In Custody, The Village by the Sea, Clear Light of Day, The Peacock Garden, Where Shall We Go This Summer, Games at Twilight, Bye Bye Blackbird, Voice in the City, and Cry the Peacock. So these are some important works by whom? By Anita Desai, one of the very important writer when it comes to writing books related to psychological realism. All her characters are basically female in nature. There are some books for children that she has written, as we have already seen. The Peacock Garden, Cat on a Houseboat, Circus Cat, Ellie Cat, How Gentle is the Mist, Grandmother, An Examination, To Sell a Picture, Tea with the Maharani. This came out in 1959. Then we have Ghost House, Mr. Bose's Private Bliss, Private Tuition by Mr. Bose, Descent from Rooftop, Surface Textures, and The Accomplished. Then let us discuss something about this very important work, Cry the Peacock. Cry the Peacock is a novel that came out in 1963. It is her first novel and it deals with Maya. So who is the protagonist? It is Maya, who is trapped in a maze, who is trapped in a psychological trauma. She is trapped in a very bad marriage to Gautam, who is much older to her. And she feels that because of being married to a much older man, she is forgetting every bliss that is there in the world. The action of the novel is set in Delhi. Almost the entire story is the remembrance of the things of the past that Maya thinks are now lost by her. Right? And the reference of peacock is one of the most important trope that is there. I urge you to read the summary of the work as well. Then we have Voices in the City, another novel that came out in 1965. It is the work that followed Cry the Peacock, and it is set in Calcutta, the city of Kali, goddess of death. So Desai actually makes the mother Nirod and her two sisters Monisha and Amla the important characters. They are also like Kali, who unleashes her evil power, right? So these women are going to unleash the barriers that are there on them, and they're going to become like Kali, right? We have Monisha, who kills herself because she cannot bear the strain of the bad marriage with this character Jeeban. The greater part of the novel is devoted to Nirod's move from failure to failure. Then we have Amla, who has not been in Calcutta for so long, and here Desai clearly is talking about the evil society and that is associated, the evils that are there in the society during that time, and she resists the city influence also. So Amla, the character, she hasn't entered the city for a very long period of time. The narration is on behalf of the characters after whom the chapter is entitled, right? So narration उनके जो प्रोटैगनिस्ट हैं उनके बारे में ही होता रहता है. Then we have Bye Bye Blackbird. This work came out in 1971. It deals with Indian immigrants in Britain and the emotional disturbances that they go through. Adit Sin and Dev are the two friends that are going to befriend one another, and they are living abroad. वो इंडिया में नहीं रह रहे, and the problem is how these immigrants are going to face trouble when they are in Britain. They are Indian immigrants settling outside. So diaspora के बहुत सारे elements हैं इस work के अंदर. Then Where Shall We Go This Summer? It is a work that came out in 1975. Here Sita is trapped in a jobless and in a very joyless marriage with Raman. So Raman के साथ शादी में है and उनके साथ marriage हुई है, and she is very unhappy. She goes on to forsake a place in Manori, an island, and there she escaped her mundane life and reality of her husband and her 4 children. So she was tired by living this mundane life with her husband and the 4 children, and she tried to just evade that reality. Then Fire on the Mountain, another very, very important work. We have Nanda Kaul as an important protagonist. This work came out in 1977, often asked in the paper as well. Nanda Kaul is the heroine of the novel. In order to break away from the past, she retires. She is going to stay. She is going to go and stay at a very haunted place in a very alone and secluded place in Kasauli. However, both the past and the present that she was trying to evade will go and follow her there as well. It is going to impinge her existence, and that will take away her zeal, enthusiasm to live as well, and her peace will also be distorted. The past is actually going to intrude through the memory of her husband's infidelity in her present. The present appears in the form of her great-granddaughter Raka, who is going to disturb her in the cherished isolation where she was living. So, in Karagununa, in Kasauli, she is living there, and then we will have Raka, her daughter's daughter, who is going to come there and stay with her. Raka अपनी नानी के पास रहने आती हैं, right? So things get complicated further in the presence of her classmate and her friend Ida Das, who of course will now be raped, who of course in the further story you will read that she'll be raped by a officer that is working with her only. So Ida Das is shown as a person who is a welfare officer. She's a very strong personality, but ultimately we see her getting raped, and because of her psychological problems, we see the impact that is seen on the important characters like Nanda Kaul and Raka as well. So then comes In Custody, a very important work. In Custody 1984 का work है. It deals with Devan Sharma. So Devan Sharma actually loves Urdu and he teaches Hindi in support of his family, right? His friend Murad asked him to interview Noor. So अब वो क्या देख रहे हैं, लोग अब ज्यादा हिंदी बोल रहे हैं, इंग्लिश बोल रहे हैं, अपनी उर्दू को भूल चुके हैं, right? So उनके दोस्त उन्हें कहते हैं rather go and take an interview of Noor, who is a very famous singer, and he used to sing in Urdu. Right? So he went there because he used to love Urdu, leaving his family in trouble, whatever may it be. He just went there to record the things and just to record an interview for Noor. एक old poet है Noor, और उनकी अपने दोस्त की magazine के लिए he goes there to interview him. This simple project becomes very complicated as the novel progresses. Instead of one interview, Devan takes the responsibility of writing an entire biography of Noor, and he'll realize how Noor is now trapped with his 2 wives living there Badi Begum and Choti Begum, and none of them are going to pay heed to what Noor is saying. They are not bothered. They are just fighting amongst themselves for the rank and the positions. And also the people who used to gather around Noor before and who used to praise Noor for his beautiful poetry, for beautiful songs that he used to sing, are now leaving him behind. Noor has this beautiful cage. यहाँ पे उनके पास एक cage है, इसके अंदर white pigeons हैं, right? So this is a trope that you will see. At the end, he will open the gate and the pigeons would fly away. So this is another trope that Anita Desai would say that yes, now Urdu is bygone, like these old days are bygone. You have someday, you have to let it go. So let go का एक message देते हुए ये एक book लिखती है In Custody. Noor is someone who is dying. He's on his deathbed. He was someone who actually helped all of his friends. When he was rich, people used to give him money and he used to sing poetry or songs to them, right? But now the days are gone. Urdu is no more important. So he used to lend money to all of his friends. But nowadays, all of his friends are shunning him away and no one is giving him his money back, because now he needs the money to take forward his lineage or to, you know, उनके daily chores भी नहीं हो पा रहे हैं, उनकी दोनों wife आपस में लड़ रही हैं because of the lack of money. And this is what Diwan Sharma would see, and he will leave his family for some time and will decide to write a biography on Noor only, right? So it's a very, very pretty novel and you must read it. Then we have Baumgartner's Bombay. In 1988, this work came out. In World War II is the backdrop against which we will see this work. We have an important character here who is a refugee who comes to India before World War II, and this is a work that is revolving around this World War picture only, right? So these were some of the important works by whom? By Anita Desai. I hope you understood all the things. She's a very, very important novelist. Important questions are asked from her works, so I want you to read the summaries as well. We discussed few of them, but I want you to read the summary of the important works like 𝐦𝐥𝐥𝐤. Like there are important works that I can tell you. कुछ important works है जिनकी summary you must read. Like the 𝐦𝐥𝐤 Way is an important work. Fasting Feasting is an important work. In Custody, Journey to Ithaca, Clear Light of the Day, The Peacock Garden. These are some, Where Shall We Go This Summer? These are some of the very important works that you cannot leave from the examination point of view, right? So I hope you understood the video. I hope you liked it. If you still have any doubts, you can ask me that in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.